Okay, Alhamdulillah, that's call to prayer. Yes, inshallah, if you are still taking your sahur, if you are in Nigeria, yes, you still have the opportunity to take your sahur. If you're in South Africa, yes, it's time for you to stop your sahur. And inshallah, so many things that you learn on this show. So the time difference, it's part of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some are behind us, some are above us. As regards timing, mashallah. But right now, you need to look at the time zone of where you are. But in Nigeria, you still have the opportunity of eating your sahur, mashallah. And do not forget on this show, inshallah, as from today henceforth, we have a segment called 60 Seconds of Ramadan. Do you know what we want you to do for us? Just take a shot, or no, take a video of yourself doing something unique in this month of Ramadan. Just 60 seconds of it and send it to us. You will see our social media handle on your screen right now. Send it to us and let us engage you. We want to pick the best 60 seconds of my Ramadan. Yes, just 60 seconds. And inshallah, you go home with beautiful prize, inshallah, at the end of Ramadan. So keep sending them in, inshallah, and let's do this together, inshallah. Okay, alhamdulillah, and that is that for the 60 seconds of Ramadan. Don't forget that from tomorrow, inshallah, we'll be playing back those videos, inshallah, on this show. So we want to see those unique things that you are doing. You're reading the Quran, you're preparing sahur, you're moving around. Just show us those unique things, inshallah. And together, we're going to enjoy this month of Ramadan. We pick the best of video at the end of the day. All right, inshallah, this is time for us to meet our ladies. I love this segment. Okay, I love women. Yes, I love women. My mother, my children, my wife. Yeah, beautiful ladies, inshallah. And inshallah, this time we're joining beautiful women, inshallah. We want to hear their opinions about so many issues: love, romance, intimacy, in line with the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And today, inshallah, on the show, they're looking at trials in the sight of Allah. So join Balkis and Miriam Square. Miriam Square, you understand what I mean after watching this.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You're welcome to another episode of Tea at Sahur with Balkis, Mariam, and Mariam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
On this episode, we'll be talking about when you're tested by Allah.
What do you do?
Exactly.
How do you react?
Considering the fact that this is it is a part of everyday life for us as Muslims, it's something that we should expect. You know. So when you're tested by Allah, how do you swim? Do you sink or do you swim?
Well, I would say that as humans, I think our first, instinctively, our first, act is to survive. We just want to survive. So I do not think anyone would intentionally sink. Of course, except it has gotten to this point where you just want to give up. The first thing you do is to try to, you just want to survive. You want to remain afloat. So when you are tested by Allah, I don't think the first thing anyone would do is to give up and say, oh, okay, so this is it. I just want this to be over, through death or, just submitting to whatever it is. I think what we do first and most importantly is to try to really get a good understanding of what the test is, then the stage of acceptance that, okay, this is a test. How then do I deal with it? So, and as we all know, as said by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, I'm not sure of the exact chapter, verse or surah, so that it would test us with so many things, the loss of our family, our children, and all of these things. So, as a Muslim or Muslimah, it is pertinent to know that you would be tested. You don't know what form it's going to come. It could be your family, it could be your spouse, it could be your children, it could be your job.
It's going to be from one test
to another.
to another.
We know when you read the Quran.
The Quran says, would you say, Allah says in the Quran, that would you say that you believe and you will not be tested?
And then when you see the tales of all of these past prophets, including our own very Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we know how much trials they went through, how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them. and then all of the dua, the deed to pull through. These are the things you are supposed
So
to
the
hold
thing
firmly
for me,
to.
the thing for me in this episode is, how do you stay firm when you're tested by Allah?
I think staying firm is relative.
Please hold that thought, Mariam. The reason why I'm asking this question is, it's very easy to let go when you're tested by Allah. It's very easy to be misguided.
That's where because staying firm it depends on the particular situation you find yourself, what surrounds the exact thing you're tested about.
And the people that surround you.
And the
what you,
people,
what
yes.
you consume.
Yes, the
Information.
people around you,
Goes a
what's
long way.
happening to you at that particular time, and then what you hold, I don't want to say dear, but what's important to you at that
And how
time.
far
The
There are
priorities.
times, yes.
And
yes.
how far gone you
There are
are in
times,
your job.
there are times you get, yes, there are times you get tried with something that you really think you need. And staying firm sometimes is very difficult when, you think I am very close to achieving this, and then this happens and I'm back to square zero. So you get disturbed, and that disturbance shakes your faith a little.
Well, like I said, it's all about returning to the Quran, to, the Seerah. See how these people dealt with. I mean, a lot of them, they lost husbands multiple of times. They get married to this one, then at war, they lose their husband to war, or they lose their kids to, to so many of the occurrences, and then they get married again.
They
The
get
story of
married again.
Solomon.
That's why I said it depends on the person that's being tested and what surrounds that person and how he takes the heat of what he's being tested with.
Ultimately, to remain firm, it's just about one thing. Know this test comes from Allah. No, it would not remain forever. Know that He has said He would test you, but He has also promised you that when you're patient through your trials, you have bounties of reward, to amass, to earn from Him. So
And
all of these
every
things,
difficulty comes easy with every difficulty.
all of these things, trust me, it is easy to even say. Like, it's easier to say, like just say, it's easier said than done. But when you find
Exactly.
yourself there,
How
you
do
need
you-
to surround yourself with people that will keep reminding you of this thing.
How do you tell a mother who is devout and the father who, both parents are devout. Devout. They're committed Muslims. More or less saying pious, because madrasa, halqa, whatever, reading the Quran, being kind to people, being the refuge to a
They're
lot
doing
of
everything
people.
Allah SWT
They're
wants them to
okay.
do.
Okay, like really good in that aspect. But then these same parents are being tested with a teenage son who was caught doing zina. It broke both of them. They were broke for days. Like at that point, it felt like somebody died in the family. Like this grief you feel when a family loses all the children in the family. That was how bad it hit. And it was difficult, but it took Allah's grace. It took Allah's ni'mah, His rahmah, for them to go back to the Quran. No. It didn't take them out of the deen.
No.
It didn't take them out of the deen on their part, but it could have happened to some other
It must have
people.
ruined the kind of relationship between
In
them
a
and
way
the
it did. In a way it did. But alhamdulillah, they were able to build back better. But it's usually difficult is my point.
Well,
It's usually difficult.
regardless of how difficult any form of
Ice
trial.
queen.
No, really? What?
Yeah.
What is it?
Ice queen.
Ice cream?
Like,
What?
what I mean is, you're more or less, whatever it is, you just gotta move on. You have to
Really,
move on.
that's the reality. Regardless of how difficult, how much the trial is, come on, they caught their child who they have raised in the, solely on the path of the deen, teaching them all the ethics and morals and everything they ought to know, and they caught the child doing something formidable in Islam, right? What if the child had died? Forbidden in Islam. What if the child had died? What if it's a different form of loss? Any loss whatsoever. One thing we have to know is that Allah will try you. If He loves you, He will test you. He tested the people that are way better than we are. And then how did they
move on after the trial?
Yes. How did they pull through? How did they even live through the trial? Then move on beyond the trial.
Returning to Allah. Returning to Allah is key.
It's patience.
This particular discussion
it's patience.
Makes me think sometimes when you are tested with someone close to you, dear to you, your son, your daughter, it's usually more painful than when the test is you yourself.
So, wow. I would not say painful per se,
when you are
but there was
with your child, someone close to you.
Yes.
And it hurts you.
Yes.
It's usually more painful than it is when it is you yourself.
You
feel
the
more
pain comes more from you. You feel guilt. You feel
like you failed in your duties.
Okay, just recently I got to know of someone I consider a little sister of mine, and that she has, drawn so far back, to the extent that at least she was trying to use a scarf before, from turban to scarf, but now it's bare hair. Like she just moves around with a bare hair, and I felt so bad.
Why?
Because I felt like I failed.
But he dies in Allah's hands, not in your hands.
Definitely, that's the same thing she's saying.
We
You feel we're humans, especially when we feel that we could have helped this person in a way, or we have a duty. As human beings, what the Prophet ﷺ said about a Muslim, you are a brick, like a means of support to another Muslim. So sometimes when we find that our brother is actually towing the bad part to the point of, sometimes you just say, so we would not be, we would not feel like the party pope, we should not say anything, until that thing actually, the person's faith actually deteriorates to the point whereby you now feel everyone is now talking about it, or it's now more obvious. You feel bad, like I ought to have done something when I should.
That's why I said sometimes it's more painful when someone else is going through the test and not you. So
but
you're also
I think ultimately. So what I did now with this sister, was to we lost a line of communication for a while, and that made me feel like, I ought to have remained with her. Despite I had my own trial I was going through, I just lost my husband. But I felt like I should have, when I saw her drawing back, I should have at least tried to pull, to draw closer or try pull her back. Because after all, she's still like a little sister to me. She could still, listen to me and feel moved by whatever it is I have to say. So what I did first and most important, what I did was to re-establish a line of communication. Just say hi to her, how are you doing, how are you studying, how's preparation for exam and Ramadan. So that's when we start saying, I know how to really come back into her life bit by bit. I didn't even say anything about seeing her without a scarf or hijab, or seeing her or in a ripped jeans, or just a singlet, or what do they call those things they wear these days?
Seaback.
Say whatever. So I didn't say anything. I just have to establish the line of communication first. Then that could be a trial even to her, because our desires that are impure, they are trials. They're tests from Allah.
Exactly.
For me,
we
I don't think we
know
identify
what
it.
The other person is fighting.
For me, this periods of tests, for me, at times when I am grateful. In most cases, when I'm tested, it's a period where there are the floodgates are open for me. Like I cry my eyes out. Particularly, I'm a very emotional person, so I cry my eyes out, and then I sit back and ask myself, what is Allah trying to teach me? what exactly is the lesson
Yeah,
in
I
this
like that.
episode for me?
You have to
What should I be
identify.
learning? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What should I be learning from this? What just
A
happened?
point of reflection.
Exactly. And then again, other than that, I also see it as a period for me to draw closer to Allah.
Yeah.
It's I tell myself if it has happened,
Uh-huh.
okay, you need to draw closer.
Uh-huh.
You've pulled back.
Mhm.
You need to take that step forward. You need to walk for Allah to come running towards
That's
you.
it.
So
Okay.
it's a period of reflection for me. It's a period of getting closer to Allah. And
Mhm.
after each episode, I am grateful to Allah.
Alhamdulillah.
Because if it hadn't happened, I probably would not have
That's
even
true.
known or thought that there's a gap or I have pulled back.
Yes.
So you see, Allah loves you.
Exactly.
Okay, so I would say that when we be tested, the first thing to do is to identify it as a test. You are a Muslim. You do not see it as a misfortune or like someone is after you or someone caused this. Of course, there would be sababs to an occurrence, like something will will
Something
be the
will
cause of
precipitate,
something.
yeah.
Exactly. That precipitate will you're really in it. So something would be the cause of something. So you fine, yes, but you have to identify that this actually came from Allah, and it is a test. Then you sit down, the reflection stage where you talked about, after identifying and accepting it as a test, then you reflect upon it. What is the lesson herein for me to learn? What thing am I expected to, really pull out of this? Then patience is very important.
Patience is
I
key.
cannot overemphasize that.
Patience
Because
is key.
after,
It is
after-
very
Patience is key.
At the end
important.
of the day, it just doesn't just the tests don't just
It doesn't just go away.
Uh-huh.
It takes time, and it's not your time. It takes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
It
for that
takes,
word.
It takes time, and it's not your time.
Yes.
So you're not to say it came today and it goes tomorrow.
Mhm.
So you have to be patient.
Alhamdulillah.
You
Alhamdulillah.
have to be
It takes you back to depending on Allah. It's possible that that test came because at some point you were beginning to see yourself as self-sufficient.
Mhm.
So the test needed to come for you
So
to
that
pull
you know
back
that,
to Allah,
yes, you have
for
to.
Him to then be your guide, for Him to become the one upon whom you rely
Yeah.
for every single thing, as even as little as the lace of your shoes.
And
It takes you
remember-
back.
And remember, that's with every difficulty
Comes
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 ease.
ease. So when you have been able to be patient, to accept, to reflect and be patient, you would see that ease in your difficulty. Yeah, let's not tell Allah.
It calls for a lot of reflection, alhamdulillah. But the most important thing, again, like I said, is like you said, is identifying it as a test, knowing what steps to take, and being able to identify the lessons
Yes.
therein,
Learning from it.
learning from them. Yeah, alhamdulillah. This is where we round up today's episode of Tea at Sahur. Join us again tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
And